What's up, everybody? This is That Anime Show. I'm Terri Doty with
J. Michael Tatum.
And today, it should be no surprise, is Miss Anastasia Munoz.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to call you Tasha.
You may.
I have to come up with a nickname for you at some point. I haven't come up with one yet, but that's my thing.
Well, what did you start calling Tia? Tablespoon? Which is really fun.
Tablespoon. And so you, I don't know, we'll call you something.
Mm-hmm.
But
I have several names, but I'm eager to hear yours. So
the pressure's on. Now I have to come up with a name. Looking around for objects in the room.
Water drinker.
You will be sports drink bottle. And that's really clunky sounding.
So all of us have had a very fun week. Fun.
Yeah, sure.
Color.
The snow is gone. Finally.
But Tuesday, supposedly, we're supposed to have snow again.
It's supposed to like freeze and everything on Tuesday, which is not going to be fun.
I heard there's going to be snow.
I heard
it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, I love snow too.
Oh my God.
I love snow when I don't have to be out in it. I love snow from my window.
Exactly. Now that you're an adult, it really sucks on snow days.
Like, oh,
you're
Mom,
like,
it's
I have
snowing.
shit to do.
Now when you're like, Mom, it's snowing outside. She's like, fuck.
Yeah, there's so many things.
I gotta get to work. I'm like, no, we have the day off. I'm like, you have the day off.
Exactly.
Snow is awesome until you look in your closet and realize you're out of toilet paper. You're like, oh, son of a...
You keep your toilet paper in the closet?
Well, I mean, like the reinforcement packs.
I'm like,
it's not like I keep it there, like
right next to the shoes.
I hobble out of the bathroom.
No one should know that I buy the 48 pack. I'm running out of places to put it.
I buy toilet paper by the desk.
A desk of cheeses?
Desk of cheeses? What is it? A hammock
what
of
unit
cake?
of measurement are you using? Mary?
God. Randomness.
Oh, now speaking of randomness, we had a date night, because blah, blah, blah. Occasionally it's just like, hey, I want to take you to a movie. And we always go to the Dollar Theater, and we saw New Moon. That was the most hilarious thing I've seen in a long time. The Twilight.
Oh, did you see me? I was like completely, what is this New Moon?
Like, New Moon. Is that like a sequel to Moon?
Who doesn't know? Oh,
I really don't.
No, Tatum has a huge hatred for it. I mean, it's pretty damn ridiculous, but like, there are wallas with, it's just him like going off about Harry Potter and Twilight. But I texted him and I went, Steven's 1 out of 6 men in the theater. And he's like, I don't know you. It was so funny. I mean,
I should qualify this that I hate a lot of things.
Not like me. I'm Sister Sunshine.
I know you love everything, but I'm not a fan of because I'm not the audience for that sort of show. But yeah, it does drive me crazy. I tried reading one of the
books.
But
they're vampires and werewolves.
And sexy.
And they're misunderstood.
I don't think they're very sexy at all.
They can never go outside in direct sunlight.
There's no sex at all. There's no tension.
Because of the Halloween glitter.
Yeah, the glitter. The glitter. They glisten.
Or you know what? They glitter. I don't know why I got like Latin. I'm like the gator. But I was watching, I think I posted like a random link where they're like, come on honey, let's go see it. He's like, I'm not seeing this movie. She's like, it's got werewolves. And he turns around, he's like, those are not werewolves. Those are cheap shapeshifters. And I'm like, it's true, but I got caught only when, like he's got his shirt off. She's like, wow, you've gotten buff. I'm like, you have? Still doesn't save this movie though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, and the whole Harry Potter franchise. I will say I like the Harry Potter films.
Did you hear J.K. Rowling's getting sued right now?
I've heard, it seems like I heard about that actually a couple of years ago because I know the books that.
It's one book in particular.
Yeah, one book by an author I think who's passed away now, but their estate is.
No, it's another one.
Oh, there's
Goblet of Fire, yeah, apparently.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be based on supposedly that the book in question I think was called like The Adventures of Willy the Wizard or something.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But I think it's the author's estate that is suing J.K. Rowling and not because I think the author died in like 1997 or something. I don't know how I know this. Probably because I worked at a bookstore at the time.
That's right.
I tried reading the Harry Potter books, and I just don't like them. I'm not the audience for them. They are. I'm like,
no, that's Twilight.
I tried to read Twilight too, and I actually read like half of the book just standing there in a bookstore one afternoon. I'm thinking, I am not the audience for this book. I'm not that. And to be in all fairness, I may hate on it, but the truth is, if people want to like it, that's good for them. I don't begrudge anyone they're liking that film. Please don't try to get me to like it, because I won't.
No, well, obviously, like, Steven and I were pissing off people because it's like the first shot is just like the titles where it's a full moon and it's eclipsing, or like it's a new moon, and like it's the first shot is of an actual new moon, and I went, it's a new moon! Symbolism! And Steven, the woman just... I'm like, oh, shut up. I paid $1 for this. You can suck it. I don't care. Like, what are they going to do? Kick me out? No. They don't even kick me out of the $10 movies when I'm being an ass. They're going to be like, what do you want, ma'am? You paid $1 for this. Let her talk.
But if I'm going to go to the trouble of, like, heckling New Moon or any of those movies, I'm going to go all out, and I'm going to come dressed up like some creepy guy who's far too old to be cosplaying these characters, which in my case is any of them, and like, cover myself with glitter and just like pace up and down the aisle during the movie.
No, there was a guy that just kept walking up and down the aisle. So I'm like, this guy's looking for a straggler. He's looking for a straggler. Just like, just gotcha. But yeah, no. Oh my God, it was so fun. My sides, like, I felt like I worked out my abs after.
We're probably pissing off so many people right now by saying this, but
well, if you like the Twilight saga. Because it's a saga, I guess.
Saga.
You can do that, and I'll still love you, but it's
I'll still love you.
I don't know. It's like people that say they like the prequels of Star Wars, and they're like, okay.
Again, so that's something else that gets me in trouble. I'm not a fan of those either. I'm not. I'm just not. I didn't go up with it.
I can appreciate blah blah blah, but
yeah, I'm very. I don't know. I like to think it's because my tastes are very refined, but the truth is it's just because I'm a snob and I like what I like, and I think my tastes have long ago crystallized, and I'm like, no, it's not like this, and I don't like it. I'm that old man who's like, get off my lawn, new movie that the kids like.
That's right. You're not a preteen. It's okay.
I'm not a preteen. I'm not.
What is it? A tween.
A tween. That's just
I don't know. The stupid movies. I think there were. There's a name for people that like Twilight, Twihards or something.
It's
Twihard 2, Twiharder.
Okay, like if you're going to have anything like have a twa to it, don't. Because it just immediately
makes it sound like the movie trailers being done by Elmer Fudd. Twilight.
No, that's the Robo-Gauge. We saw that preview for it like a year ago.
Robo-Geisha is beautiful.
It's like crazy tracheotomy voice.
Robo-Geisha is
Stop it, just scaring me.
Let's get Joshua with it.
Yeah, you do.
Gotham are good.
Oh, so Tasha.
What's happening?
What's been going on, lady?
Well, there's some stuff. My world is so crazy. I do not have a conventional job. I just hop around from thing to thing. Yeah, it is nice. A little stressful at times when you're like supposed to be in 3 places at the same time. But yeah, Lynch started this week, so
that's right.
It's very exciting.
What is this Lynch?
What is this Lynch?
Speaking of, I don't know. I live in a cave with my fingers in my ears.
Food, the meat, and now I'm a vegetarian, so I'm like, and I'm not really religious anymore. But a friend of mine gave up fast food, and it's like this week that it started. She's like, come on!
I am dying. Yeah, it's always pretty brutal the first week because it starts on a Wednesday, and then you go right into the weekend, and Sundays don't count. Okay, well let me explain. So
wait, okay. Now I feel really, really stupid. You're talking about Lent?
Lent.
Okay, I totally I heard you say Lynch, and I was like, what is Lynch?
Oh,
like, is this some sort of David Lynch? I'm like, is this some sort of like? Well, and then you start talking food. I'm like, because for some reason I'm thinking, it's like a David Lynch film festival or something. I'm all on board for that. And I was like, Lent started this week. I'm like, on what? What's he doing now? And I'm like, oh, Lent. Okay, I know what Lent is.
Awkward. I should enunciate.
No, I should just listen. I can't hear past my own voice most of the time.
Lent starting lunch?
Lunch?
I'm like,
wow.
I'm just going to start randomly answering people's questions with, what is this red nose you speak of? When you're like, what? I was talking about Greenpeace. What? I'm sorry, I heard red nose.
It's the same. It's the same.
So what did you give up?
So what did you give up?
Yes, well, see, I wanted to give up excess and ignorance. That was my big thing. I posted
That's a
on
tall
Facebook.
order. I mean, not in your case, but I mean just for anybody.
Well, no, yeah. No,
Good luck with that.
That's a little dick thing that sounded like for me to say. I was trying to work that as a compliment and then failed utterly. I gave up tact for Lent, in case you're wondering.
Oh, good job.
Okay,
You're doing great.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm totally good at this.
No, I indulged in a lot of excess pleasures to get myself. I trick my brain. I'm like, hey, brain, you can wake up in the morning. You can have some coffee. You can have a donut. You can have some other things if you need them. Just do it so you can make it through your day. And Lent meant no more of that. Let's try and be a normal human being, maybe without caffeine or alcohol.
My God.
Let's see.
Maybe alcohol. Maybe. But if I did it, no, I don't. I'm like, no, you guys are just so much stronger than me. No.
It's nice sometimes. Sometimes it makes me crazy because there's a lot of things going on at the same time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could really use a cup of coffee.
Like being so busy and then part of your agenda now is taking out part of that agenda. That makes you feel more rushed.
Yes, kind of, yeah. But then you are rewarded. I mean, you make sacrifices and you receive blessings. It's kind of nice. I didn't mean to get all religious up on this anime show. No.
Like, by the way, have you accepted Jesus
Christ as your personal savior? Is that what's going on here?
I know him.
I should convert
He's a cool
you.
dude.
No,
We get along.
that anime show? I don't know what you
what
heard.
happened? What happened?
Yeah, it's funny you mention this because I guess I've kind of been going through my own Lent, even though I don't really consciously practice celebrate. Is celebrating the right word? Does one celebrate Lent? I mean, you observe Lent. I think observe it.
Observe it.
And
I'm celebrating Lent.
I bought a juicer recently,
that's
and
so good.
one of those really cool ones you can like stick a whole tree in, and it'll just be like
Juice.
it'll juice anything.
It's disgusting.
Well, I don't know. Juniper trees are not so bad. I don't know. I have not juiced a tree yet. But I've been trying to because I determined that I don't eat enough vegetables. Like I eat a lot of fruit because I love fruit, but vegetables are hard. And they say you gotta have those leafy greens and your carrots and all this.
Are you drinking vegetable juice?
I'm drinking. Well, I try not to drink store-bought stuff because I don't like all the sodium and stuff in it because they have to preserve it. And I'm like, I'm trying to lay off the salt too, just because I'm trying to. I feel like this has been the year that I feel like I'm getting old. I gotta start I gotta start preparing for old age.
My knee hurts.
So I gotta start. My knee hurts. My back is aching. My blood pressure's going up. I mean, really, it's weird. I don't know what it is about being 33 that's made me feel like I'm about to turn 90.
That's when Jesus died.
Thank you.
You're
Well, so much for my carpentry career.
Okay, there's that Jim Gaffigan, like, how good of a carpenter was he? Like, yeah, he's the son of God, but get that shelf going, man. I need these Jim Gaffigan bit, it's not me. But anyways, juicing.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's great because I've gone and I've discovered like the farmer's market near my house, so I get all this produce from there now because it's fresh and it's farm produced, and I like to support the local farmers and stuff, and it's really good. And there's such a difference. And like now, I'll make I have all these mad scientist like vegetable concoctions that I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna mix cucumber and strawberries and like kale, and it sounds disgusting, and it is until you trick your brain. You trick your brain. You have to trick your brain that you're drinking like a latte, and once I can do that, I'm like, and I feel so much better about myself.
Do you put some soy in there?
I haven't yet. Maybe I should try some soy.
Soy is a really good blending thing. Soy, like for coffee, is terrible.
I use soy milk now for like cereal because I'm not a fan of and it keeps longer. It keeps a lot longer.
The beauty of working at a coffee shop is I'm like, oh shit, I didn't put away the soy, and they're like, that's fine. I'm like
it's
yeah?
soy. It's okay. It's a bean. It's good. Yeah, it's fine. So I've done the whole soy thing for a while just because I'm not a fan of milk. I don't like it. It's
I
not.
hate milk.
I've never
I
liked
don't like milk
Even
either.
as a kid, I'm like, but yeah. So I've been juicing and I've been trying to I've been
like that
more
verb,
and I've been
juicing.
more stringent about my meditation schedule. I meditate a lot and I'm trying to do it I do it every day for 20 minutes, but this week I've been doing it for an hour at a stretch, and I'm very proud
That's
of myself.
amazing.
And my back and my legs hate me for it, but
blessings.
but
You're
they're-
making a sacrifice, and you will receive some blessings.
Aw, I hope it's true, but I try not to think about that. I just do it to do it, and then
Do you use mantras, or do you just try and empty everything?
I do. I've used some mantras, and I've got some beads now and everything, and things.
Really?
I'm kind of been getting more into that lately.
I'm trying
I
to.
love
I'm trying
this
to
topic.
just
I really-
touch up myself. Really, I like the way I look, but I feel like I can look better. And I noticed that whenever, because a big part of our job when it's not recording is sitting for 8 hours a day.
Yes.
But I started doing I want to say it's hatha yoga or hot yoga, but where it's in a room of no lower than 35 degrees at all times, and which was really good last week because it was 30, and I walked out of it and steam was coming off of me. I'm like, whoa.
But coming off of a spaceship
I've been
or
doing
something.
that for a week now, and I've already lost a little bit of weight.
I'm interested in going to that with you at some point when my back stops hating
Christy
me.
Bingham is actually my instructor. She's also a voice actor.
Yes,
Awesome,
I love
awesome,
Christy.
awesome.
I can
I've
get
known her
down on
since
that.
coffee house days. We used to hang out at this
That's
coffee
really
house together
cool.
all the time. But yeah, I just randomly saw her up at Funimation one day, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm a voice actor up here. What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm a director here." She's like, "No way!" I'm like,
Wait, what? Just the other day y'all ran into each
well,
other?
not just the other day. This was like a year ago now.
Oh, okay.
But and then it turns out that she knows Brina, and I'm like, I know Brina because she's up here. But yeah, then all
we
that
are
stuff.
friends.
But yeah, no yoga, and I'm keeping up with my vegetarianism, which it's on 3 years now.
And I am slowly making.
You're gonna be a pescatarian.
I'm slowly trying to become a pescatarian,
Oh.
because I'm trying to give up. And I've eaten a lot. The past year, I've eaten very little red meat, just because I'm trying to.
Easy to do.
It's fairly easy to do because there's a lot
I love
more.
meat. I love it.
I do too. I do.
See, there's
I
more
love.
for you
I
now.
love
You're welcome.
poultry. I love poultry and I love fish, which is why I think I could probably give up poultry, but fish I couldn't give up. I mean, not anytime soon anyway, because I love seafood. I do.
It's
I
very
love.
riveting. I love food.
I love
food.
I know, this
we
is-
love
this is-
food. I know. I feel kind of like I said the wrong thing on a first date. Let's talk about religion.
No, it's a fascinating topic. I'm glad you brought it up. It's fun.
No,
my
I'm a big
ex-boyfriend?
first date person where it's just, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh
Oh my God, none of you have
not
ever seen me
going
on a
good.
first date. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I had one where all I ordered was fries, and okay, if it's the glass Heinz bottle, you do not unscrew the top as a waitress because you have to do the shake.
Right.
And I did the shake wearing a white blouse, and my date looked up from cutting his omelet, and he goes, oh my God, and there was ketchup on the side of me, all over me, on the ceiling,
Oh, no.
on across the way, and the waitress made me clean it up.
I did something similar to this years ago because your first instinct is to grab the ketchup bottle and shake the hell out of it because especially if there's
Now
only
they
a
have
little bit
the
of
one
the
that's always upside down. I'm like, you don't know what we had to go through.
Like when our day it was a glass bottle and it was unscrewed mostly. We wouldn't know. And
We
I
didn't even
grabbed
have
this
the
thing and
Which only works the first 5 times.
Yeah, and then after that it's just
like,
and
thank you.
it's just it's a ketchup queef bottle. I could have just easily.
Since junior high.
I could have just as easily said
Wasn't it
fart, but no, I had to go there.
One person person like heard queef and they're like, I have to tell everybody this word.
I think that's when I first heard the word. We're like, what is this queef you speak of? But anyway, let's not go in that direction now. Let's save that for later on.
For the second date.
But no, so I grabbed this ketchup bottle, and this guy, he wasn't even my server, was passing by, and I shook it, and like, and it got on me, but it got all over his face, it got all over his apron, his everything, and as far as he was concerned, it looked like I just grabbed it and threw it at him. Because, I mean, he was just walking by completely oblivious, and I was like, splat! And the guy just looks at me, and I look at him, and there's this awkward silence, like, right out of, like, The Honeymooners or something, where I'm kind of like, and he even, like, does the whole wiping it away from his eyes with his hands sort of thing, and looks at me, and I'm like, really? That's, I love Lucy.
I know. No, but I think, like, Lucy, like, the conveyor belt keeps going, and oh my god, what's going on? That's a ketchup shit for me.
But yeah, and that happened to me, the ketchup thing, and so I've always been very careful about my ketchup now. But food, I'm hungry. But
so food. Oh, speaking of, on the first date, I do believe that there are sexy foods and there are non-sexy foods.
Like you gotta know where you're going to go.
Well, yeah, do not order a non-sexy food on your first date.
Sexy
salad,
food.
Not sexy.
Salad is not because it's this or the, like, yes.
You're trying to get the whole bite in your mouth, dressing's like dripping down your face.
The lettuce, we're like, this is a perfect size bite. It's like, no, fuck them.
No. Mm-mm.
We have to like shove it in your mouth because it's like a whole leaf that you get on a fork, and it's like,
well, yeah, and you want like
it's like trying
a
to
piece of
swallow an umbrella.
egg and a crouton and like some tomato. You want all of those things in every bite, and so it's like this massive mound you've created, and you're like,
maybe that's a sexy food.
Other non-sexy foods would be a really, really big hamburger that falls apart as you eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
yeah, not sexy.
Well, sexy food. It depends.
Fruit,
fries, anything grabbable.
Yeah, any finger foods always sexy.
I think pasta can be very sexy because you can, if you know how to eat it correctly, it can be.
It depends. Like if it's a penne or a rotoni or something, yes. But if it's spaghetti or linguine, no.
Exactly.
I don't know. I wonder. I think maybe even spaghetti and linguine could be used. If I mean, I haven't done the research, but I would hypothesize that you've got, and maybe this is me watching too much of Lady and the Tramp, but I'm thinking that spaghetti can be, the eating of spaghetti can be a very seductive thing.
Later that night.
No, because well,
you can use it and be like,
be.
I mean, I guess there's that, that final flick that gets sauce all over your face. Where
the
it's like
slurping, the one when you like bite it and then it kind of like falls out of your mouth. The rest of
That's
it.
Like having soup and the person just doesn't want to give up with like the last bit of soap.
Or when they give you the giant meatball that you have to like just skewer with a fork and like eat on it like an ice cream cone. Yeah. That's not very sexy.
I'm also a fast eater. That's really unattractive. Where I'm just
I'm not a fast eater.
Even
you
if
and
I'm
Joshua
talking.
Both. It's really funny. Joshua,
and I have a lot of
you both eat
in
like you're in
common.
the military or something.
See, I was raised in a military family.
It's so funny.
And also,
but seriously, this one and Joshua will eat and like from across the
table.
table.
Next to each other, we embarrass each other less. I was like, let's sit next to each other.
The rest of us, like, we needed like some sort of welding shield over ours from the sparks flying off that plate. We're like, oh god, stop it! It's like,
well, yeah, but like if we're just waiting on you.
Well, I know because I eat very, very slowly.
You take like every 3 minutes is a bite because the 2.5 before, like you're like, oh, there's food on my plate. Is you talking and we're like timing him, which we talked about before.
Mike McFarlane said that about me at some point. He's like, hey, you want to know how to ruin Tatum's meal? Ask him something. And it's very true. So at my birthday party, all that side of the table was watching me talk to the other side of the table, and I had like this piece of something on my fork.
Shrimp,
it was one of those little shrimp rolls or something.
Just like, it started getting limp because
I'm just talking and I'm using it, and I'm just like, and it would come up to my mouth, and I'd be like, oh, but and it would come back away, and this went on for apparently like 5 minutes. Everyone was like watching and like making
Brian,
a drinking
like,
game out of watching.
He's like, okay, 2.5 minutes. We're like, oh, and then like you turn as you're like looking at it. We're like, and you're like, what? And I'm like, just eat it.
It is
So what are some sexy foods to eat on the first date? You said fruit. Fruit's good. Is there a particular fruit?
Especially like melons.
Yes, melons are good. Strawberries are good. Sometimes the seeds get in your teeth. You also got to think about like what's sticking into your mouth.
That's true. That's another reason salad is bad news because you get the green, the little green veins.
There's nothing more embarrassing than them going like you guys laugh and you got a little. I'm like shit.
Yeah, but at least they say that, and then you get, if they don't say it, you get home from the first date and you're like, oh, fuck, look at this. What's happening in my mouth? This is
like, dude, the whole night is just...
Yeah, one whole tooth is completely covered. This is hot.
I look like the sea hag from...
Spinach. Mashed potatoes would be easy.
Yes, mashed potatoes.
Ooh, mashed potatoes.
Creamy.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
I couldn't... No, like, if I never had anything else, it would just be mashed potatoes for the rest of my... Mashed potatoes are my favorite food.
I love mashed potatoes. The mashed potatoes at Main Street Cafe are my favorite. The garlic mashed potatoes.
Oh, well, I've never had them. Because
they're good.
they only got like a couple veggie dishes for me.
because they don't really come with the veggie dish you get, but they're good. You'll have to try them sometime when we go out there. They're really good. Just get the mashed potatoes. They're amazing. But we started talking about food.
I know. I'm really into food. Sorry.
Well, I'm really into food,
topic.
and I'm really into like. Steven does all the cooking. Like, he's an amazing cook.
Yes, he is.
He's been cooking
Seriously,
like
he makes a
professionally
pizza
for like 10 years. Yeah.
He made us a pizza,
a white
white pizza. It was a vegetarian pizza, but it was probably the best pizza I have ever had in my life.
Oh, I love pizza. See, if I could only eat one food for the rest of my life, it'd be pizza.
Pizza's pretty damn. It's a damn close second. But like me, I'm a big mixer. Like, I make all the hummus and the guacamole and all the drinks and everything like that. But I'm a huge coffee freak. I need my coffee. Like, I have the French press and all that. And I'm like, you guys need a French press and all that.
I don't know about a particular food, but there's a particular cuisine I would, if I could eat for the rest of my life. But like, I could eat Greek or Mediterranean or like Lebanese food for like the rest of my life. I'd be happy. I found it several years ago, and there's some really, really good places near where I live. And now that I found it, I'm like, I'm like, this food was made for me. This is meant for me. Everything I love about the eating experience is encapsulated in this meal before me.
You should go. You should take a cruise.
I don't know that I probably discovered that the real thing was horrible or something, or like totally not to my taste. Because I'm pretty sure what I like is like fake Lebanese food. I'm pretty sure that
it's kind of like Mexican food and Tex-Mex. You go to Mexico and you're like,
they're like, oh no, where are your nachos? And you're like, get out. Nachos, really? Like, that was our idea. Sure. Okay.
But maybe I should go on a voyage of discovery to like the Mediterranean and see if the food is as good. Maybe it's even better. Well, yeah, it would certainly be beautiful.
You might not come back.
I might not come back.
Heart attack on the way back. So worth it.
Too much lamb. Too much hummus. You can't have too much hummus. It's just chickpeas.
Yeah, but they're pretty high in calorie.
Well, they're high in calories, but you burn that off just by eating it.
Eating is so strenuous.
How do you eat hummus?
Very, very strenuously.
I run back and forth, and each time I come back,
I do a series of cartwheels up to the plate and front and back, and yeah.
Oh, the Olympics.
The Food Olympics. That should happen. All right, so
okay, it's coming out I don't remember when it's coming out. I should have looked. But Strike, which is March?
Mm-hmm.
March, yeah. It's a March release, isn't it? Early March, too.
Are you excited?
I'm so excited. It's like my first big show. I was in almost every episode. That was kind of a big deal. I loved it.
I watched the first 6 episodes, the dubbed version. Not like I went and stole them, but I had to do something to help somebody out, and I ended up watching 6 episodes, and I'm like, wow.
You were hooked. A
little bit, even though I'm just like, why? There is is the lead character gay? They need to tell me if she's just straight out gay.
She's
she
into
really
girls.
likes boobs.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Markey's character just falls naked at one point, and she just sees her boobs and starts playing with them.
Yes. Yeah, they're into that.
But
doesn't that just always happen?
The way they're marketing it, which I think is super funny, is the war on pants.
Yes, no pants.
And I think they did a KatsuCon, I want to say is the name of it, in New York last weekend, and there were a lot of Strike Witches cosplayers.
Nice.
Oh. Which I'm sure the guys
a lot of no pants wearing people. Wow, that's
a lot of bathing suit wearing ladies. I'll say bathing.
I'll be honest. I know very little about the show. I know the rough idea of it, But what was it like working on that? Because that's a pretty. I don't want to say out there's not quite the word, but it's a pretty burlesque.
Yeah, it is.
Show, I guess, maybe would be a way of putting it. Not in the way that, say, some shows might be, but it's pretty, having
There's
no pants and playing with boobies.
Going up, hey, we've got these military jackets on and these panties, and let's get a shot from going up. Yeah, that's neat. I am kind of modest as a normal human. So Scott was telling me, your character is one of the most modest. She's one of the commanders, and so all the other girls kind of get down to next to nothing. But the least I ever wear is just a bikini at the beach. Like that's as raunchy or as burlesque as I get, which I'm into. That's cool. And I'm kind of grown. I'm a leader among these young girls. Yes, with my deep voice.
Kira Vincent Davis's character, like y'all are like best friends.
Yeah, best friends and like co-commanders of these strike witches, and it was just a lot of fun. It was the first time that I'd ever been going into the booth and recording a lot, and was like, wow, my voice. I've never had that problem. I'm gonna need some water. Wow. Again, back to the first date. This never happens.
It's cool. If I just kind of choke myself, I can totally keep his voice up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sound engineer's like, what the fuck is
it helps.
I'm just going to hang upside down in front of the mic, and his voice will come out exactly as I need it to.
Yes, it's perfect. And then the singing. I had never booked a real character, real show, and they asked me to come back. I was actually avoiding reading for Mina in the audition because I saw that she sang, and I was like, no, I'm not going to read for that one. And Scott was like, no, I'd like you to read for it. I was like, okay, but and so they said, come back in, do a call back and sing. We want you to sing Doris Day's Que Sera Sera. And so I YouTubed it and watched it like 40 times a day, and I was like, well, what have I got to lose? So I went in and did it, and then they cast me to be this singing character, and all of my friends, I studied theater, and I have a lot of musical theater friends. They all know me as not musical theater, no training, absolutely not. And they're like, You're singing? They picked you to sing the song? The character that sings. That's cool.
Thank you for your support, guys.
Yeah, neat. But it was so fun, and I got to work with Brina. We were talking about that earlier.
She handles a lot of the singing direction.
She handles a lot of the music direction.
Well, she's got like a freaking degree in it.
Yeah, she's classically trained, and she does. She has an incredible voice. I shouldn't say this. I'm gonna give her.
You need to be
Pardon me.
Her voice.
Yeah, she does. She's got a beautiful singing voice. I love it. It puts me. She can sing stuff.
Tell her. Actually, I'm a demotivator.
I know. I really shouldn't put this out there now because it's going to come back to haunt me. That girl.
Well, you and Brina have a love-hate relationship.
No, it's mostly hate. No, I love Brina, but she does love to have her little pranks.
Well, that's her
at my expense. Sabbath has never pranked me before.
Well, Sabbath's not like a huge pranker, but
yeah, he is.
Well,
but you have to.
Hey, you! I don't like. I'm not mess with you.
He was, from what I understand, he's kind of the opportunistic prankster. Like if you leave your Facebook profile open or something, and he's around, then he'll take advantage of it.
McFarlane, I think, got him.
And
he left his thing open, and McFarlane was just like, I am totally done voice acting, and I love PCs now.
He was so conflicted about doing it too because I was there when it happened, or I was shortly after, and he was like, I just felt like, Sabbath's never pranked me, but he's gotten so many other people, I feel like I should represent. And so he got into this totally harmless thing about Sabbath loving guitar, but there was something like Travis Willingham and Sabbath are very close friends, and Travis was in town, and I think often he stays at Sabbath's place or something. I think. Don't quote me on that, but he was over at Sabbath's place, or he was at a Sabbath studio or something, and he left like his Facebook open, and so Sabbath just spent like a whole evening just
changed it to a different language.
There's all this different stuff, just all these little blogs or posts, like, hey, just got back from ninja school today, and so you could go on Travis's webpage and see all these entries. There's just absurd things like, hey, I killed a bunch of pirates today, or hey, at ninja school we learned about the katana, or whatever. Just totally, just bald-faced absurdities. And then the very latest entry that week was him going, ha ha, way to go, life lesson number 942 or something like that. Never ever leave your Facebook profile logged in at Sabbath's Place, which we're like, oh, that explains the ninja school. But yeah,
but Brina
loves to prank me. Brina, I still have to get her back. I don't know how I'm going to get her back. I really don't. I'm just
Do
going
these pranks extend past the Facebook?
Oh no, she's never. Oh no, she broke into my house.
Are you really serious?
Have we mentioned that?
I don't think we've told this story before. Okay, I have to tell this story. From my perspective, no, she's told the story.
No, it's actually on YouTube.
There's YouTube of her saying this. She gets asked, and she's like, "Bring it on, Tatum!" But this was like a year and a half ago now, and it was October 14th, 2008.
An erotic date.
Sadly, I remember the date because he won't shut up about it.
And slowly I turned. No, and Joshua and I had gone out to eat dinner that night, and we got home around 10 o'clock, and en route back to the house, I get a voicemail message from Brina saying that, hey, she and Gino's her brother, and works up at, and he was actually my first engineer on a show that I directed. So I know the both of them, and they're both, crazy, and I love them, but they scare me, and whatever. But so I get this message from Brina saying, hey, we're in town, and we couldn't remember where you lived, and we want to stop by and say hello. Give us a call. And I think, well, I'll call them when we get back to the house, because I'm in the car. I get back to my house, and the door is unlocked. Like, the door isn't it's like the deadbolt is unlocked. And I'm like, that's weird. I thought I locked this. Okay. Like the knob is locked, but the deadbolt, okay, whatever. And I open up. Things in my house have been rearranged. Like, it's obvious from the moment I step inside the house that someone has been in here fucking with my shit. And I mean, there are books on the coffee table, like, open, and there's like, things are rearranged. There's a $5 bill on the couch with a little Post-it note attached to it that says, we had fun, thanks. And so I freak out. I'm like, my first thought was, okay, this has to be Brina. Like, what are the chances, okay, that this has to be Brina? I don't know how she did it, but I'm going to call her. And I call her up, and she's like, hey, we're sorry. We went back home. We couldn't get a hold of you. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Have you been in my house? And it's a testament to how good of an actress that she is, that in the 5 minutes I spoke with her on the phone, she went from being my prime suspect to being absolutely exonerated. I was like, there's no way you could have done this. She went, oh my God, okay, well, I'll call you back later if I figure out who. She's like, okay, sweetie, well, you let me know, man. That's kind of weird. So I start calling every friend I have. Thank
God you didn't have my number.
Yeah, and I start calling everybody,
You're not his friend.
Okay, did you do this? Did you do this? And my prime suspect at the time, past Brina, was my good friend Denise. who also loves to have her little pranks, and we had a little prank war going on for a while, and she totally won. But I think this is something like she and her husband Mike would do. This is definitely something they would do.
Yeah.
And if they were free of the kid, if the kid were like at the grandma's that night and they were in town, they would totally do this. So I'm gonna try to call them. So I'm trying to call them, and I can't get through to her cell phone. I keep getting her voicemail, which is very odd. She answers almost all the time. And
what time was it?
And it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock now. So this has been going on for like 40 minutes, right? Me rampant going through that school. This better be someone I know. This better not just be some psycho that's come in here and like done a creepy crawl on my damn house. I'm a fan. Well, that was like my first thought was like, oh my God, there's like some fan that found out where I lived, and because I'm like, surely not, surely no one's done that to me. But when you whatever, and so I end up trying to call Denise, and I can't get through. So I decided to call like their house phone, which is a number I very rarely use. And I just scrolled through my cell phone and I hit Denise home and start calling. And I'm like, phone rings. And then I hear this, hello? And I'm like, Denise! Yeah? Were you in my house tonight? Who is this? Michael Tatum, your friend, jackass, are you? Because I'm thinking she's fucking with me, I'm like, Michael Tatum, hello, we just spoke on the phone like yesterday. Were you in my house tonight? Like, be honest with me, seriously, because I'm about to call the police, because I have to know this was a friend. She's like, Michael Tatum, oh my God, I had accidentally called my boss from 4 or 5 years previously, whose name was Denise, or still is Denise, presumably, and who now lives in Chicago or New York or something. And I'm like, holy shit. And so I had to suddenly have this conversation with my old boss. Like, hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, someone broke into my house. Yeah, I totally thought you were someone else. It's cool. How you been? And so I had I was picking on the phone with her for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I did. I totally woke her up.
Well, Chicago, yeah.
And it was funny because by this time Joshua looks in the fridge and finds a 6-pack of Budweiser beer that had been left there. I don't drink Budweiser. I don't drink beer really, and I certainly wouldn't drink Budweiser just because that's not my style. And Joshua's like, sweetie. I'm like, oh God. And after that we after the police because I was freaky because I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And then finally the real Denise called me back and was like, no, it wasn't me. Totally. We've been, here all night. We have the kid and da-da-da-da. And and by now, 3 hours had passed. The police had come to the house and looked at everything and said, well, nothing is taken. And I would assume it's got to be one of your friends. Let's not file a report yet because, we don't want to get any of your friends in trouble if they're pranking you. But it's probably just someone you know. So finally, again, 3 hours later, Brina gets around to calling me back to letting me know that she did it. And she had meant to call me much earlier, but she just forgot. And so she's like, oh yeah, shit, I should call him back. And by that time I'd also found a pint of ice cream in the refrigerator for me that said for Michael written on it, in this really psychotic scrawl. And so it was intense. And I
like that they involved groceries in back to the day.
They made a couple of trips.
Well, I think they didn't Jimmy the lock or anything. Apparently what happened, they came up and they I guess the front window had been unlocked for some reason. We'd done some cleaning a few days before, and I had just forgotten to lock the windows back because I just didn't think about it. And they noticed it when they came by the house to see if we were home, and they're like, well, we can't leave it like that. So they just opened up the window and came in, closed it, and locked it, and we're going to just come out the front door and just leave us a message. But once they got in the house, they both were like, we have to do something to freak him out. And they were both their original plan was to just hang out in the dark and freak me out when I came home. I'm so glad you didn't do that.
Brina did chase you at one point around Funny.
She did. She chased me with a clown mask. She chased me with a clown mask. Brina loves to fuck with me. I don't know what I ever did to her.
I don't know. You just seem susceptible.
I am. I am.
We have
questions. We have questions now.
Yay! Let me see. Fat D wants to know if you're going to any conventions soon.
Oh,
are you?
I don't know. I would love to go to.
Have you ever been to an anime convention?
No, never.
It's a trip.
Oh, they're fun. They're so much fun.
I have heard wonderful stories about it. Yeah, I would love to go, and I would probably even dress in costume.
Oh, well, see, now that it's out there, I'd be very. You'll probably get an invitation now. Someone will hear this and be like, "Oh, we need to get you out there." That's you when you go to a convention for the first time. It's a great life experience. Everyone should do it. Everyone should do it.
I want to.
Awesome. I see many conventions in the future.
I think I've only been to one, and even randomly, Chris Ayres and Josh made me go up there because I was just going up there to watch the premiere of Line Barrels, and they're like, "Come up here for a Q&A." I'm like, "No," and they made me Chris is like, "No, you can sit right next to me and Josh. It'll be awesome."
It'll be awesome.
Let me see. Okay. Before Funimation, I'd say even now, you're known for your stage work. How long have you been on stage?
Professionally, about 4 years now. Mm-hmm. I graduated from the University of Alabama in 2006 and moved back here. I'm from Dallas originally and came back and have been working around. And actually my first role in a real play, quote unquote, was directed by Todd Haberkorn. We did Twelfth Night out in Keller, Texas.
One of my babies.
I love Twelfth Night.
I was Festi, and it's really funny because when I auditioned for it, I read for Festi, and Festi has all these songs, and he was like, okay, you look like you're a dancer human, so why don't you just do an interpretive dance of these songs? And I was like, okay, cool. So I auditioned for that, and then I got the part, and I was like, oh, cool. So first rehearsal, I thought, all right, so these songs, that's how we're going to do them, this sort of interpretive movement stuff. He's like, no, you're going to sing them. What? I was like, again, back to the singing.
Yeah.
You don't know if I can sing.
You don't know me.
You don't know this. You don't know this.
You don't know. You don't know.
What if I can't sing at all? What then? And he's like, oh yeah, and Shakespeare, he didn't write the music for it, so you're gonna need to write the music, and I'd also like you to accompany yourself on a ukulele. And I was like,
wow, that's crazy.
I'm not musically inclined. You don't know this. You would have known if you'd asked me to do these things in the audition. So anyway, long
Tipping
story
Tom with
short,
the director hat you were doing.
you want to accompany yourself on ukulele. Excellent. So I did. I learned one of my castmates could play guitar, and we kind of like figured out some different little tunes, and I definitely did it. It was so scary, and I was like, this is my first professional show. I am singing a song. I don't play music.
Wow, so it was a 12-tone piece.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was me. No, actually, I have a very lovely lilting voice. That was for something to totally improvise. That was very beautiful. That was. You do have a lovely voice, though.
Thank you.
It's so.
Well, Tatum and I have used you. Tatum and I have used you a couple of times, one of which we really can't talk about.
But when we can talk about it, by God,
we keep talking about that. We can't talk about it. So
Yes.
there's that.
Yeah.
But how long have you been voice acting at Funimation?
Well, I put on my bio that it had been 3 years, and then I started thinking about it, and it was actually around Lent time 2 years ago. I remember that Joel McDonald brought me in to do a Walla session, and I knew Joel from the theater world, and
Yeah.
I had never, even thought about it. I don't have an agent, and I don't do any sort of broadcast or commercial or anything. So I just do theater, and I was like, okay, that sounds like fun, cool. And I had such a blast, and then everything just kind of sort of kept moving up from there, and I was just happy to be there. Totally beginner's mind. I had no idea what I was doing, and still kind of don't.
Joel brought me in too.
Yeah.
I actually met you when I was interning. You came in with Becca Shivers for a Heroic Age Walla.
Oh, Heroic Age.
And then you and I and Becca, which is funny, you two get called in together a lot. You and Becca did a Walla for Nabari No.
That's right.
And then we started annoying the crap out of John Duckworth.
Yeah.
Because Monica was sick that day, so we're just like, on. John's like, get in the booth!
Do it! Yeah, me and Becca. It's dangerous.
Talking, John?
Yeah, could you record it? Maybe? We could do that.
You can use this somewhere if you're clever enough.
I like that you're getting more roles now. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. I was not expecting it, and I think that's kind of the best part about it. Is like I go to an audition or whatever, and I'm like, Walla, a role, same money coming at me.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to
You
be
say
here.
tomato, I say tomato.
Exactly.
Pajamas. Let's call the whole thing off.
But no, you go ahead.
I was going to ask you because I've asked this of several people because a lot of people that are in this business have experience on stage first. A lot of people don't. I am, I'm very fond of getting people's take on making that transition, like the differences between voice acting and stage work. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, because you have an extensive stage background, and we've been doing it for 4 years, and that's again, the story about having to be in 12th Night and just sort of rush in and learn how to play ukulele and sing. I mean, that's such a stage. But what is it like? What are some of the differences? I mean, do you find that certain strengths come out in different ways depending on what situation you're in? I mean, I noticed, just to kind of give you a talking point, Josh Greeley, our very first guest, said that he found it often to be much less. There was much less pressure on him as an actor in front of a large group of people in a theater than there was in front of just an audience of two, the engineer and the director. That when there's just those two people scrutinizing every syllable, it's far more innovating, and it's far more nerve-wracking than being in front of having the sort of the energy of being in front of a large crowd, where I guess you can kind of. I don't know if you picture them all naked or something. It's easy, but what do you think about that? I mean, what is your own experience and the difference between just acting with your voice in front of a mic and in front of a large audience with your whole body on stage?
Well, I am a very physical actor, and so the fact that I started working more with using my voice, I was like, wow, I had no vocal training at school in my theater degree. Thanks, University of Alabama. But the best part about it, I guess, is voice acting has made me a stronger stage actor, for sure. Going in for a cold read at an audition, I'm like, oh, please give that to me. Got it. Because you're not doing that. Rehearsals is kind of what I love about stage acting. You get to really kind of make mistakes and go do these crazy extremes, and then through weeks and weeks of rehearsal find your character, and then by the time the audience is there, you can't see them, first of all, because you're blinded by the lights. So you're just into this character and ready to go, and you know the story so well, you've done it so many times. The first time I came in and was actually trying to match flaps and not doing walla, and I was like, whoa, wait, can I look at this before we start the words part? Can I, no, we're just gonna go. Okay, cool.
Time is not on our side.
Splitting your vision too onto the screen and to the words, I'm still having difficulties
actually
with that.
Yells at me if I look at the monitor. Like, I have to, he only allows me to look at the script. If anything, if he knows that I'm looking at the screen too much, he'll go in and turn it off.
Ooh.
Wow. That's an interesting technique, because a lot of times
the script timing should be there to fit the flaps.
Yes, and that's
so
really
that you
what
just
I
read
do.
the line naturally. I mean, that's what I do. I look at the monitor sort of, I mean, I'll look at the monitor toward the end of the line. But that's, you know.
Oh, well, see, and I thought I was doing it wrong because I wasn't looking at the monitor of the flaps coming at me. I was like, oh, God, can they tell that I am just reading the script because I'm so terrified to, like, move my eyes? I'm going to F up a word
Unless
or
it's
something.
reactions, I will not look at the monitor.
Oh, see? No,
I'll look at the monitor in the pre-roll in the preview that we do of each line, and then I won't look at it again until after I've done the line and look at it. That's how I've always done it.
Lightning. I love it.
Well, because I mean, a lot of times if you've got this huge paragraph of dialogue, you can't. There's no humanly way for anyone who isn't like superhuman to memorize. Lucy can do it, and others. Sabat can do it.
Let's go.
There are some actors, Colleen can do it. Can look at these huge just swatches of dialogue and just memorize it like that and just make it fit instantly. And I don't know that I will ever be in position to be able to do that. So you just sort of have to trust the script, and then you see what works. And then usually within a couple of takes, I can get it. Once I see the animation once, I can just it's easier for me to remember the animation while I'm looking at the script than it is for me to remember the line while I'm looking at the animation.
Exactly.
So. But some of the things, speaking again of the difference between stage and voice acting, is it more freeing in some ways? I mean, you've clearly gotten more comfortable with the concept of matching flaps and, just the weird non-physicality of using your voice in the booth. But do you find it's more free? Do you find that there's more you can do with your voice in terms of lending it more convincingly to characters that you couldn't do on stage with your body? I mean, are there things you can, like for me, example, I can, I've said this before, but, I can play, an old man or a 17-year-old or whatever, given enough time to practice, I could never pull that off physically on stage. Right. But, but just being able to rely on my voice, I have that luxury. Do you find that that's the case with your own, or is that...
It's again back to the beginner's mind, because I never really had any training. Everything that I'm discovering about my voice, like I thank you, Funimation, for allowing me to discover that about me, because I forget who it was the first time was like, hey, can I just grab you real quick? Can you do a little boy voice? And I was like, sure. Yeah, okay.
Tyler, probably.
Probably.
Because you were Joel's younger self in Baccano.
But that was like, I think it was in Claymore or something.
Oh, yeah?
Like, just real quick, pull you from something, and I was like, sure. And that's kind of my attitude as an actor. Like, can you play the ukulele? Yes. Can you sing a song? Sure. Yes. Little boy? Uh-huh. Yep. I will figure it out.
That's like the number one rule of acting. Always say yes.
Yes, always say yes. So,
can you ride a horse? Yes.
That takes me back to that freaking Friends episode where they're like, so you're uncircumcised. He's like, no, they teach you, like, in auditions. If you don't know how to do something, you go ahead and say yes. They're like, yeah, but this isn't like riding a horse. This is like growing a turtleneck. Yes. That's such an old...
I don't know if I actually answered your question, but yeah.
No, it's kind of cool. I think you know that I'm always fascinated to hear people's takes on the difference between stage and voice acting, because there's obviously a lot of connection between them. I mean, it's still acting, but it's a very different kind of acting. And there's been a lot of I don't say there's not been a lot. There's always a few people that are just wonderful on stage that have real trouble making the transition to being a convincing voice actor, and vice versa. Same with film, because each, you know, while acting is kind of, you know, the core they all share in common, the techniques are so very different.
Oh yeah.
One of the biggest problems I've ran into, we had a lot of theater people. I say theater people. That sounds so pejorative. You know, but I had I had a lot of wonderfly, you know, seasoned theater actors and actresses come and audition for Romeo and Juliet when we were doing that. And it was really funny. I say funny. It was unusual that it was the first time I noticed that some of these people had never been in front of a mic before, and they would project as they would on stage, because that is how their body is accustomed to delivering lines. And we'd have to tell them no, you need to take that back. You don't have, the back row is right here in front of you. You don't have to project. And it was really difficult for some of them to get their heads around that, because their body had just kind of
step into the booth.
There was one actor that came in and he did a wonderful job, but he was so new to the whole process that when he came in, he just sort of brought the book of audition pages, what we call the audition sides, for those of you out there in radio land or podcast land that don't know. He walked in with the book and just started auditioning in front of us at the desk, but like not even standing in front of the mic, like even going into the booth. We're like, oh, no, you don't have to do this in front of us. You go in the booth. Oh, cool. And it was really weird. I mean, he was ready to just do it in front of him. I mean, and I admired his just gung-ho-ness about it. But, you know, I could tell when we had to, no, you're going to do this, you know, where you actually can't see us, and you're going to be in this booth, and you're going to be in front of a mic, and it's going to be...
You don't need the book.
You don't need the book, because we're going to have the slides the sides in front of you. And it really kind of disoriented him for a little bit. You could tell, because his first run through the audition was a little weird, and the second one was far more comfortable once. But he had just had his own, you know, had it in his head that this is how you do it. You do it in front of the people. And it was like, no, you're going to be more isolated, and you're going to be in front of a mic. And so he had to worry about that. It was really weird, but little technical things like that you never think about. You never think about. But all this, by the way, brings me to a listener question.
Listener question.
This comes from Benjamin Oscar.
Benjamin. I've been calling him Silly Pants McGee.
Silly Pants McGee? Silly Pants McGee? Okay, well, I guess I can't call you that now.
Oh yeah, I was about to say nickname.
I'm still thinking it's going to come. It's going to come to me before the session is over. But he asks. You know, I'll kind of distill this, but what were some of your best moments as a stage actress? You talked about doing 12th Night, and that's got to rank up there. But what are some other great moments of being a stage actress?
I would have to say my favorite role so far has been Eurydice in Eurydice, which was down at the Undermain Theater, and Kent Williams played my dad. And we all just melted.
That's a name that gets us all to go.
Yes, he's wonderful.
We love Kent Williams so much.
The guy doesn't listen.
I know he makes me very uncomfortable.
He can make actors feel really uncomfortable.
I do. I love me some Kent Williams. I'm sorry, I was going off on a tangent. Please tell your story.
Yes,
Eurydice,
and it was.
That's intense. That's awesome.
Yes, and it's by Sarah Rule, and it was a new adaptation of the story of Orpheus, descending Orpheus and Eurydice get married, and like right after their wedding, she, in the myth, gets bit by an asp and goes to hell or the underworld.
I love that story.
Oh gosh,
it's one of my favorites.
Exactly, and so and then the poetry that she writes it in, and Orpheus comes down to fight for his wife's life, and plays the most beautiful music in the world, that the Lord of the Underworld has to allow him in, and says, okay, I will send your wife after you, but you have to walk straight out, don't look behind you. If you do, you know, she's going to stay with me forever. And so, of course, it's tragedy. He looks back.
At one point, he just doesn't think you're behind him.
Right. Well, in there's several different versions. In one of the myths, he gets up into the actual world and turns around to help her out, and she falls. And so then, in this story, Eurydice calls out to him, and because she doesn't know, is that him? And it's just so sad. And the imagery and the poetry in this play is incredible. The father builds Eurydice a house out of string, and when Orpheus proposes to her, it's with a string. He ties it around her finger, and I mean, it's just and she sits in a suitcase. Oh my gosh, it's just too much. I was so incredibly honored to be able to do that. It was at the Undermain Theater.
Okay.
Yeah, down in Deep Ellum. Just my favorite. And I work for Second Thought Theater. I'm one of the producers.
Talk about that a little bit. I'd like to get into that a bit, because
you mentioned a couple shows the last time you were in for me. I'm like, I can't go. Damn.
There's always a million going on. Well, what's funny about Second Thought is I've worked for the company ever since I moved to Dallas, but I'd never acted for them. I was a costume designer. I was a stage manager. I just wanted to work with them so badly that I would do whatever I could to be a part of it. And just recently, I moved up to the executive ensemble. I'm now a producer for the company, and I got cast in my first role, which was Ally of the Mind by Sam Shepard. And Sam Shepard, deep old Americana.
Was it the one, you posted some pictures of you in bandages and stuff?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, it's stage makeup.
Don't worry.
I'm so proud of these bruises.
I designed the makeup too, so I was kind of proud of that.
They were very good.
So the play starts, and my character has been beaten so severely by her husband that she has brain damage. And so, the epic actor of, actor playing, don't go full retard. It's never. So playing brain damage, oh my gosh, that was quite a challenge and a highlight in the career.
Because, you're so, not only that, you have to act it, but also you don't want to offend
Exactly. You want to.
That is a very, very, very precarious razor's edge to have to balance yourself on.
Well, that's actually in the news a lot right now because of Family Guy episode.
That's right. Right.
Well, it's not that they're, I don't consider anyone mentally challenged or whatever the hell you want to call them. It's just they're not like me. Nobody's like me. They're them, I'm me, whatever. But it's Chris Seth Green's character has a crush on a girl who has Down syndrome, and she is the worst person in the world. She's just horrible, but because she has he's making excuses for it, and she makes a joke about her essentially being related to Sarah Palin, and Palin is pissed, and this voice actress actually does have Down syndrome. It's look, I'm not going to apologize for voicing my voice, so suck it, essentially. But where do you draw that line? I don't know.
Hard.
This brings to mind a story back when the film As Good as It Gets came out. The Jack Nicholson.
Greg Kinnear, Helen Hunt.
Yeah. Good film.
With the dog.
Good film and good performances. But I remember knowing somebody that saw the film with me, and afterwards we had a conversation about this person was worried that Jack Nicholson's performance was degrading to people that had OCD. That he was this person, my friend, was worried that now are all people going to now think that OCDers are these combative, horrible human beings that Jack Nicholson's character was before, of course, he transforms. And I thought to myself, now that sentiment alone kind of bothers me, because I'm thinking just because this person has a disorder of some kind, we expect all of them to be a certain way. And I'm thinking just because they have OCD or Down syndrome or whatever, in my opinion, that still means they're human beings and they're going to be every bit as complex and as differentiated among the species as a whole as we all are. That I'm like, I think it's that someone would go there with a character like that speaks volumes to their humanity, and that they're part of all of us, because they're not, we're not setting them apart because of their disorder. They're still just as inclined as anyone else to be shits or angels or what have you, and we had this really passionate conversation about this movie, and I just thought about that. I'm like, I'm all for.
Well, it's like with anything that they portray in films, it's all people must be this way. My big beef, is the way a lot of people assume gay people are. Because of a very heavy portrayal of them. It's very effeminate and very, women, and very like, hey, girlfriend, and I'm like, no, that is a facade for the most part. But there are people that actually act like that.
There are. Yeah. There certainly are.
Anastasia. We have a question, and I'm not showing you it because it's so funny. Well, one question is, how tall are you?
I say 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, exactly. 5, 6, 7, 8. No,
5, 6, 5, 7. Here's my favorite question, and I'm not going to show you just because it's so funny. Question? It's from Joel McDonald.
Oh, good. Dear God.
Oh, no.
Is she willing to do nudity for anime and when?
Oh, Joel, really?
I'm not making it up.
Oh, Joel.
Like in the booth, Joel? Like in the booth?
Yeah.
Method acting, if you're...
I gotta get in it.
Oh, my God.
Well, I know I recorded nude all for Rin, You
did?
Well, underneath all my clothes, I was nude.
Well, I'm naked beneath my clothes all the time.
Not me. I'm never nude.
There are clothes beneath my clothes.
I have cut-off shorts on.
Joel McDonald is such a troublemaker.
To answer that question, Joel.
Because it sounds to me like he's asking if you'll do that for him.
Will you do it?
Will you do that, please?
Like, that's not a general question.
Well, there isn't a script up. Like, just do it.
Speaking of going back to favorite roles, I must say that I did a show with Joel, and we got to play love interests, and we did get to make out a lot, and it was neat. I liked it.
Joel a good kisser?
Totally. Totally a good kisser. Okay, to answer his question,
for all of you men out there,
Joel's really good.
Hey, I'm going to do this by way of revenge for you against Joel for his question, just to make Joel uncomfortable if he ever listens to this. I'm going to go, Joel. Okay, so
there you go.
On to your story.
I really feel like I should leave.
You should.
Okay.
And Joel should come over.
Naked? You should be naked. That's how Joel sounds totally.
Yeah, it's totally. Hey, that's what he gets for asking a question like that.
Yeah, no comment.
Oh, she's going to plead the fifth.
No.
Wait and see.
It would depend. I'm a school teacher, so it's kind of hard to balance things. Like,
answer the question.
My kids are like, oh, you do cartoons? That's cool. I'm like, yeah. With the panties and the jackets. I mean, no. I don't know. It would depend on who the director was.
You get all nude and everything, and then there's a tour group in. We're gonna go to a different studio now, and you know what? All of you stay here. We have some fan comments.
Yay!
And a lot of them are for Tatum.
Oh,
you're a bad baby.
Okay.
You're so pretty. Okay,
Stop calling me pretty. I'm not pretty.
Okay, you're so fuck ugly.
So pretty.
Does that
You
help?
have to go there. God, why is everything so extreme with you?
Because life is extreme. Okay.
No, it's not. My life isn't in no sense extreme.
No, life isn't extreme. Life is
extreme getting the mail. No, that's not extreme. I don't know how you do it.
Will you sign for that package?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, no, okay. Tatum is the best writer ever. Comment.
What?
I had to watch Blasraita.
Blasraita. Oh, I love that show.
With a dictionary next to me, but it was good.
Good. If I can get anyone to learn new words, I am all for that. There are so many words in the English language, and not enough of them get used. By God, more people should. I'm so thrilled to hear that someone had to.
And another one is Blasraita.
Blasraita
was the best, and I hope you write for Initial D when that happens, if it happens, because I want that show to be super good.
Well, that's very nice of them to say.
I bet Tatum is funny drunk. And they want to hear.
Drunk.
Us funny. Us drunk is really funny. Us funny drunk.
It's funny. You're like this is Terri. Terry's like the beauty that quelled the beast, because I'm a very bad drunk, just to let you know. Like if I'm really, really completely blitzed, I am the most belligerent, obnoxious, clown beating
Obviously.
person imaginable, which is why I very rarely let myself get too gone when I start, imbibing or decanting the insalubrious. Here, look, there's one for the dictionaries for you. But
Thesaurus. It's not a dinosaur.
But
it's a thesaurus.
But yeah, when Terri and I get a little together.
Only happens like every
happens every now and again. We're like, we've had a tough week, by God. Let's round of drinks for everyone, and they'll come to the house and we'll
Joshua and Steven are asleep.
And we're just like, oh my God, and we just become ridiculous. It's like a slumber party. It's hilarious.
No, the last time, I was like, I want to pay you a compliment, and you laid down. You're like, tell me.
I did. I put my chin in my hands.
I'm not saying this because I'm a little drunk. But I'm a little drunk.
That's compliment time.
But yeah, no, apparently they'd like to hear us sound drunk. That'd be hilarious. So,
should we all sound? Do you want to join us in sounding drunk? Let's do a drunk.
Yeah.
This is improv. I like this. This is nice.
This is a
drunkenness.
Okay, well, I'm gonna swig at my sports drink bottle because it sort of does sort of
seriously,
reproduce.
okay, just hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm listening.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
I'm also listening.
If bears lived on the sun, okay, would they be solar bears? Seriously, I just blew your freaking mind.
What does that even mean?
What doesn't it mean?
Oh, like polar bears. Oh my God, we said that at the same time.
You owe me a Coke or something.
I don't know you. Shit. What?
Nothing.
But no, so once upon a time, right? I had.
You are so beautiful, but not beautiful.
Just
what am
prettier.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very, very right. And I mean, nice. And I mean, right. And so what?
Your face was like, and I'm like,
Okay, this is getting too weird. Now I'm actually starting to feel drunk. I'm starting to go, I can't drive home now. But also, I've been acting drunk. I'm driving under the influence of improv.
You know what I'm saying?
You tell the
dude, I'm
officer
sorry,
that.
you made this face.
This face. No, when I get drunk, I tend to be like, you know what your problem is? You're too fucking short. I'm I just will pick up, and I'm talking to the cat.
I become like a messiah. I don't know, I feel like everyone should listen to me, and it usually turns where I'm like, everyone's listening to me, and there's 30 people at this party. I'm like, you know what? They're like, yes! Woo!
Now, see, that's what I feel like when I'm sober. I'm like, everyone listen to what I am saying now. Now you're listening and the pressure's on and I sound like an idiot. But yeah, when I'm drunk, I'm always like, you just need to stop. Everything you're doing annoys me.
No, the last time, okay. Well, no, we weren't drunk. It was the Unsolved Mysteries thing. It was when you started buying a different box set every freaking...
Because, okay, let me explain. Unsolved Mysteries was a part of my childhood. That show I used to watch used to come on Wednesday nights. I forget what channel, but Wednesday nights, it was Robert Stack and a show that scared the piss out of me every time I watched it because it was creepy,
Looking very tan and
always, well, that's Robert Stack. And Robert Stack would just stare that camera down, man. There's no blinking. No, he passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. May he rest in peace.
Was it an Unsolved Mystery?
But
terrible.
Oh, that was terrible. Don't pick on Robert Stack. How dare you?
Hey, you can't spell terrible without Terry.
That's very true.
Boom, lawyer.
What? Unsolved Mysteries started releasing their box sets in based on genre rather than like by season. So, you know, it wasn't like season 1, season 2. It was the best of, or like their ghost stories or their UFO stories, stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God. So I started buying each of these and subjecting people to watching these every time Terri and Steven came over to the house. I'm like, let's watch this. I say people. Steven and Terri, they're the only people that come to my house anymore. Probably for this very reason. And
we
so
watch some stuff like, we're busy.
like we got a thing.
We're gonna miss the news.
I got some cabbage to strain. I have to wash my hair tonight.
Who do you know?
Not a lot of people.
Aww.
In my head, I do. But anyway, so when you play one of these discs, the menu is just the just has the theme music on loop, and so this is playing the na 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 na.
And
that
then
whole thing
it
is
pauses
playing,
for a second and then
starts over again. So with this, in the, like somebody, like Josh was making drinks for everybody while we're waiting to like cue this up. The menu was just playing because he does
whatever.
He makes the best gin and tonics this side of reality. I mean, he's just the best. But so this music is playing, and so begins the infamous Terri and Tatum pose off.
I'm serious. If we ever go to a con together, we should just like make that like a whole panel. Like people just give us a different disc or whatever.
That's a great idea. Like music to play. So explain what it looked like, because I didn't get to see it.
We started doing like where we would just stand next to each other and like take off our glasses, which I rarely wear, but I was wearing that night, and just starring J. Michael Tatum and Terri Doty. Okay, the thing you should know about Tatum is he's got like a funky little foot thing where like unless he's watching his feet, he's gonna trip all over them, all that stuff. So he like completely went like, oh, I totally forgot about this. You know what I should do is keep my socks on my hardwood floor, go to the hall and run into the living room.
I like doing like a risky business move.
He was going to run in, stop, and take off his glasses. But
it would have looked awesome too.
But it turned into running, slipping, falling, running into the couch, bookshelf, books falling off.
And me like catching them as they're falling onto me.
I'm on the floor laughing so hard, and all Joshua hears is, oh crap!
You know, and there I am on the floor, like with my legs in the air, like an upturned coffee table or something, like with my arms and legs in the air, like holding books, like to keep them from falling on me, and like things are shaking on the floor. It's just ridiculous. And Terri, and there's, I really wish we'd had the foresight to film that, because I really wanted to see that.
We've been drinking a little bit, but we weren't like plastered. The night that like we were like, oh my god, it was we were at a couples shower, and we as we were leaving, it was everyone, me, you, and Joshua were plastered because it was free drinks. And I say free drinks, I found a way not to pay for any of them. And on the way back from Dallas, because it was in Dallas, like we hadn't really eaten anything because that shower didn't have anything for vegetarians. So I'm like, I should have stopped after like one glass of wine, but it's like sangria, like margarita. That sounds fucking delicious.
Sounds like dinner to me.
Pure alcohol. And like it got to like two of them, and I looked at Monica. She's like, yeah. I'm like, I am fucked up. She's like, yeah, me too. And her boyfriend's like, you should stop. She's like, no. And like we were all getting like, and then on the way back, Steven drove, and we're just like, no, take this way, take that way. He's just like getting super pissed because he's the only sober one.
And it's tough to be the only sober one in a car full of drunks.
Place that we used to go to all the time, like 10 minutes before they closed, they're like, you guys are open, we need to eat. And we were like belligerent and then it turned into us getting back to Tatum and Joshua's and us ghost hunting.
Oh my god, that whole night is just a blur.
But I got like really like kind of
so ridiculous. It was like an episode of South Park or something. Like, what was that noise? What's going on?
If you're here with us, like blah blah blah. And I went like, dude, give him some time to answer the questions. Seriously. So that's me and Tatum.
I was convinced that my house was haunted. I'm still not entirely, I'm still not unconvinced, but because there's still been some weird stuff going on, but not, that's, I'll save that for the Halloween episode.
Oh yes, I heard about the Halloween Halloween episode when you're talking to
Yeah,
Tia.
I want to do that so bad. I'm a big ghost
all of you
story
guys, yeah.
fan. I never get sick of ghost stories. I love telling them. I love hearing them. I do. It's just me.
I love it, but like last Halloween, I think it failed miserably. Like we tried, and then they're like, there are a lot of candles.
There's a lot of candles, and you had like half the room of people were drunk and going, no, tell the one above the hook. Like, no, that's not a ghost story. I want to hear a ghost story. The hook is not a ghost story. And it was the atmosphere was wrong.
Too, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Candles
you
and
heard
drunk
it on
people, not good. Not a good combo.
Yeah, no, believe me. Especially in my house. So, how do we get off on that topic? Where do we go?
We were reading fan.
Oh, we were reading fan questions. That's right. That's right.
Joel, of course.
Joel.
You've known Joel for a while. Obviously.
Yeah. I've known Joel since I moved back here. We became
In what
fast
play
friends.
was it that you got to be love interests? What was this?
Oh, this it was called I Hate Hamlet, and it was at the Labyrinth Theater,
yes,
which has since closed its doors, unfortunately. But yeah, it was so much fun. It's a very cheesy, embrace the cheese sort of play.
Embrace the cheese.
Embrace the cheese. It's cool. And he was supposed to play Hamlet, and his girlfriend wants this aspiring actress, and she's terrible, of course, but she believes in him, and lots of kissing ensues, and it was so nice. I was like, Joel, I've kind of always had a crush on you. This is like fulfilling all of my secret fantasies.
I think everyone has a secret
But
crush
then,
on
like,
Joel.
and you're like, wow, I'm so over it.
I'm so satisfied. Thank you, Joe. That's great.
And Joel's like,
Oh.
With the new anime, I thought we
We had something.
no, Joel's very pretty.
He's
Yeah,
very
he's dreamy.
very
And
easy on the
segue all
eyes.
the way back around, he is going to be one of the leads in my next main stage show with Second Thought Theater.
Awesome.
Which one is that?
Can we talk
It's
about the
Lobster
production?
Alice. Yes, yeah, we can.
Okay, yes.
Is
I'm
this-
so
is-
freaking excited about
Is
this.
this what I think it is?
Yes, he's playing Salvador Dali.
Yes.
It's very
Oh.
exciting. And he told me, like, right as we announced our season, which was months and months and months ago, he's like, okay, I'm really excited about doing this show. And I'll be honest, he's like, I want to play Dali. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's neat. Good.
Good for you.
Good. Sure. Okay, good. And I was also auditioning for the show, so I wasn't in the room watching them, but all the other producers and the director were like, Joel came in and completely knocked us off our socks, like just completely
He has
blew
a
it
way
up.
of doing that, doesn't he?
And he'd been preparing. I mean, he worked hard for it, and that's so exciting. And I was like, hands down, he's doing it. Oh, P.S. Todd Habercorn is also in that show.
Awesome.
There you go.
So animated.
I'm gonna like
Come
buy
support
every
Second Thought.
ticket.
I told, when Joel was telling me about this project, I was like, dude, I want to see you play Dali. I really, because Dali is one of my favorite figures in the art world. Yeah, I mean, it's, come on.
Obviously.
But he's also such a fascinating guy, and I find Joel to be every bit as fascinating in real life. I mean, he's kind of a surprise because he's such a laid back and kind of quiet's not quite the word I would choose, but he's very unassuming. But Joel is he's an intriguing person. He really is. There's a lot going on
love Joel.
beneath that sort of I'm making the jet like he's really, really short, but no, this is beneath the surface. He's everyone to me is short
He's
except
5'8".
you. He's 5'8".
He told us that like during his show, and
He's a very cute 5'8". But
You're
yeah,
cute.
I'm a
I think,
5'7" when I'm with him.
like,
Just
for
you.
me, picturing him in that role is like, I have no problem seeing that at all, and I can't wait to see it realized.
Oh my gosh, he's
So I'm
going to
gonna
be
buy it.
brilliant.
And I've never gotten a chance to see Todd on stage. And Todd's one of my favorite. Todd is one of my favorite actors up at at what we do at like Funimation and stuff. He and I've been in a lot of things together, and his presence in the stuff we've done together has been such a help to me finding my own voice as an actor, because if Todd's recorded before me and I just get to play off of him, then I mean, come on, I've got it made.
Gold.
But we've had that opportunity so many times to play off of each other that I joke that we're kind of the Mutt and Jeff, or the Heckle and Jekyll of Funimation, because it seems like we've been every kind of anime pairing that existed. But I've never gotten to see him do stage work, and I really want to, because I imagine I've seen him do film stuff. Yes, including the
Well, I was talking about
show.
also his 24-hour video racing, which I believe he won.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? I
watched him. Kent was in it. Stephanie Young was in it. And Todd was like, like the Revenge for Hire dude.
Todd is an immensely talented guy, and I've yet to see him. He knows that. He knows. I secretly want to be Todd, but I want to see him. I want to see him.
He does marionette.
Oh, okay. Now here's the thing.
He does.
He's
Kid
not.
Williams, right?
He's not going to be, as far as I know. This is an extra role that we cast. It's not a speaking role. There are lots of. Well, no, I take that back. There are. These animators, it's funny, it's about animators, this play, are working on making Alice in Wonderland, an animated short film, and Dali comes in, but then a caterpillar shows up, and the Cheshire Cat shows up, and these characters are not written at the beginning of the play, like, here are your character breakdowns and whatever. They're not there. So we've cast Todd as this extra actor, and he will be doing some puppeteering and some movement stuff, and we're actually going, I think we're going to do some dolly doubling. So like they're both at different points going to pop up in different scenes, and like the set starts to meld into this surrealistic. Clocks melt and lobsters crawl around and Alice sprouts claws, and I mean it's just it's an impossible
that sounds
play.
Like right up my alley.
Yes,
I really
can't wait.
And what is the play called?
It's called Lobster Alice by Kira Obolinski.
Okay, I have to, because I know nothing about the play. I've never even heard. I'm hearing you describe it now. I didn't even know that the Alice in Wonderland element was in there. And Alice in Wonderland is a very, very that's
to
another
all
big.
Of us, I think.
That's a big. That was, I don't know. Alice in Wonderland is like where I got my values as a child.
Absolutely.
And through the Looking Glass. I mean, I still go back and read. It's one of my all-time favorite. I don't even call it a children's novel. It's that, and it's much besides. But yeah, that's okay. I really want to. I want to see this. You cannot imagine. Yes. And it's premiering in April. March?
In April 22nd through May 8th, and it's at the Addison Theater Center, out by Water Tower, out by the Circle in Addison.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Is Second Thought doing anything right now?
Second Thought is doing something right now. We never stop. Our work is never over.
Robot.
Yes. We are doing 2 world premiere readings right now. And this weekend we had a Texas playwriting competition, and Patrick McLaughlin won our competition, and we're doing his reading right now this weekend. Opened last night, will close tonight, so I'm heading to Addison after this. And then next weekend, next weekend we're premiering Our Father by one of our ensemble members, Drew Wall, who has also been...
Yes, Drew Wall.
We love the Drew Wall.
He was a big wind-up.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. So he is stretching his playwriting
really cool
appendages, and we're really excited about that. And then after that, we're doing the Out of the Loop Festival at Addison for the Water Tower, and we're doing Power Lunch, which is by Alan Ball, who wrote American Beauty and What's the True Blood now. We're very lots of things happening. Newton Pittman is going to be in Power Lunch.
Another, that's so awesome.
So I haven't met, but I've heard.
He's good. He's good.
Oh, his voice
he's another voice actor. I think I don't know that he's. I don't know how new he is up to the voice acting scene, but I've only been aware of him recently. But I've heard. I don't think he's in anything that we can talk about yet.
Oh, probably not.
But he's. I have had.
I'm about to burst with crap we can't talk about.
Yeah, but once those floodgates open, man, it'll be great. But Newton Pittman is definitely someone you'll be hearing from.
Oh yeah, and you're gonna
he's
melt.
really good, and he's got a gorgeous voice, and he strikes me as a really cool guy. I've met him a few times, and he's just, I'm like, I love actors. Let's kind of go back in time a little bit. We've kind of, there's been sort of I found now in retrospect a kind of logic to this weird skewed interview. That we talked about voice acting first, I guess the latest incarnation of your abilities that you've discovered about yourself in the past few years. And we talked about stage, now you got into that. But just getting down to the core of acting, how did you, as a young, burgeoning, theatre person, as we're now calling them. How did you know did you know you were going to be an actor? Did it find you? Did you find it? Tell us that story.
Oh, I love this story. When I was younger, I found this paper. In second grade, they asked us, write a paragraph about what you want to be when you grow up. Well, I found mine, and it was 2 pages long about how I was going to be all of these different, like a marine biologist, a zoologist, an archaeologist. I wanted to go dig dinosaurs. I wanted to be an actor. It was on the list. That's good. But when I retired, I wanted to be a ballet choreographer, write children's books, and do something else. And I was like, oh, okay. And as I was going along, I was an only child, so very independent and shy and awkward. So I went to a Catholic school, a very small Catholic school, for 1 year, and went to a speech competition and won my first trophy ever. Because I had never done sports or whatever, and I just kind of felt like, well, the cool kids have trophies, and I'm a loser. So I won a trophy and really felt like, oh, this is neat. And then I was in my first play that year, and I was like chorus girl number 4, but it just completely turned my life around. And from then on, I would go back and forth, and especially as a young actor, you always have that, like, I could never do this again. I couldn't possibly. And I'm like, oh, but I can't stay awake. I think I had like 4 meltdowns like that.
I hate you, don't leave me.
Yeah, exactly. No. But now that I am back, in fact, my last breakdown was as I was going off to college, and I was like, I'm not even going to audition for any schools. I couldn't possibly do this. What am I thinking? I'm joking myself that I can even do this as a career.
I love that's the tone your inner monologue takes. No, it can't possibly. No.
So anguished. And I was going to be a doctor. I got a full scholarship to the University of Alabama.
Wow.
I didn't even look at their whatever. I was like, it doesn't matter. And within 4 days of me being there, I can't stay away. I cannot.
I can't.
It's the lights been calling me
I
back.
don't have it within me to stay away.
So I went and did theater there. But the coolest part about the story, full circle, is that Catholic school I now teach at, and I am the speech and drama teacher, and that is so incredible for me because then I get to tell the parents of these kids, I was shy, I was awkward, I didn't find my niche until I was here. And even when I was here, I wasn't the leading lady, I wasn't these things. And now I'm here where I'm making a career out of balancing teaching and voice jobs and theater and making it work, and it's heaven. It's heaven. So that's
awesome. That it really is. That's great. I love hearing that. It's kind of the coolest
thing. Another really cool thing is you think about all the teachers you've had throughout your educational career. Who do you always remember? Your speech teacher and your drama teacher.
Absolutely. And running into people, they're like, oh, so what do you do for your day job? And I'll say, I'm a middle school theater teacher. And everybody, no matter if they do theater or, they are a waitress, they'll say, I remember my play. I remember being this part and holding the moon or doing this, and everyone remembers their middle school experience on stage.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Well, I didn't get into it until freshman year.
Oh.
Which actually, my first teacher is actually a really good friend of McFarland's.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, Angela Stidham? I'm like, yeah. How do you know? He's like, well, we've known each other for years. I'm like, that was like our first conversation. I'm like, I finally can have an excuse to talk to Mike McFarland. I'm like, Angela Stidham?
That's my in. I have an inroad.
Thank you. But, and she made me a stage manager immediately. So I started out as a techie. And by the end of high school, I'd done 30 plays, 5 of which were off in Mansfield, and I had been in 15 of those as an actor, and then mostly as a techie.
That's incredible.
I just had this weird sort of epiphany. I just thought of this story, and I haven't thought of this story in years. But when I was a child, and I mean I was maybe 10 on the outside, that by that time it was, I think everyone in my family knew that I was not a normal child.
What is normal, really?
Well, not me, that's for damn sure. But I take pride in that.
Good.
Normal is boring, and normal is normal. I've done the normal thing, and it wasn't a good.
It was miserable trying to be normal.
We weren't a good fit
Like
for each other. Normal and I.
Acting, is so unstable and stuff. So my mom says I should be a lawyer.
Well, and I was very lucky.
He is a lawyer. It's a hilarious thought. But
you would make a good lawyer, actually. You would be.
I've heard that.
You would be a very good
really
lawyer.
Good arguing.
Yeah. Well, to give you a little backstory, when I was very young, I had kind of a debilitating stutter. It was actually so bad that I very rarely spoke. I know what happened, right? But I didn't speak very well at all, and I took speech therapy for several years from a wonderful British woman, which is, I think, one of the reasons I don't have much of a Texas accent, even though I was born and bred here. And everyone else in my family, sounds very much like they're from Texas. But once I kind of got over that stutter and started finding, I found one of the biggest ways to get through it is if I could read a piece of dialogue. Like my grandmother used to sit me down with Shakespeare plays, and we'd read them together. And even if I didn't understand what I was saying, if I could just knew how to intone the words, if given something to say, I wouldn't stutter. But if I had to just sort of improvise, then I would always stutter. But so I slowly learned, like through acting, how to enter into dialogue with people and how to improvise, just speech in everyday life. So it helped me, but so by way of this, my parents and my grandparents were very supportive of this newfound, method or coping mechanism, if you want to call it, for my stutter. Encouraged me to go into little community theater plays and stuff like that when I was a child, and I ended up auditioning for some show that was done in Plano, Texas. I don't even remember the name of the theater. It may not even still be there. I have to go back and look.
Sadly, that's
but and it was a little musical. It was all starring a bunch of kids. But it was like an original musical, and it was about the history of Plano, about the pioneering families that started it, and things like that. And it's very kind of Waiting for Guffman, when they're doing this thing. But it was the first time.
I was just thinking about that.
It was very much like that, but it was really, really cool. But the cool experience.
I'll take a small phone and an actress to go. You really want to go?
But it was the first sort of professional gig I ever did, because I got paid for it, not very much, but it was in front of an audience.
It doesn't matter.
It was in front of a paying audience, and it was filmed, and put on television at the time and everything, and it was called And the Telling Takes Us Back. And we each of us, because there was like a cast of, I think about maybe 8 or 9 kids or something like that, and we all played different roles, and now in this era I'm going to be this, and I ended up playing one of the main characters I wound up playing was a guy named Mr. Floyd, who was apparently a member, like the patriarch of some founding family in this town. And the first performance we did afterwards, the director came up to me and said, well, I want you to meet someone who's out in the audience. And I got to meet the real Mr. Floyd's great-great-grandson, who is in his 70s or 80s at the time. And he was like, well, and I got to meet the guy, whose great-great-great-great-grandfather I had just played. And so that was my first weird experience for acting. And that was I think that's when I caught the bug. I hadn't thought of that story in so long, so I totally forgot about it.
I've never heard it, which is shocking.
Yeah, I think I've told you most of my stories, at least 5 times. I hadn't thought of that one in so long, because that was, it is so far back in my memory, being that I was 10 years old at the time, that I'm just like, I think that, I forget this, but I remember getting to meet the great, somehow, however many great-grandsons of the guy I played, and that was like, wow, it was a really cool experience. I'm sorry.
It's funny when you meet, people that you're just like, well, that weird connection, but, community theater, I think, I really wasn't getting along with one of these kids. I did One in the Willows, where I played 5 different people. Mm-hmm. But my friend Emmanuel, he was the lead as the Toad.
Mr. Toad.
Or as Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad.
Oh, Toad.
The crazy Mr. Toad.
But one of the kids who was also, everyone was several different people, but this kid happened to be, the grandson of, Wilford Brimley. And so he came, and I'm like, And then the next night, like, he actually also knows Barry Corbin, too. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
This kid is 10! He's like, oh, well, he's done Walker, Texas Ranger, he's done Barney. And I'm like, this kid is awesome. I love this kid now. Like, just from being like, he's like older than me, like, mentally. After doing all this crap. This is crazy.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, no. But getting confused for my actual teacher, like, was like a big thing for me.
Wow.
Like, Angela Stidham. And I'm like, oh. No, I'm Terri Doty, but I do know Angela.
I know her. We're sympathetic.
I miss theater.
I've been thinking the past couple of years, I mean, I've been so busy doing voice work and writing and other stuff that I haven't really had a chance to look into
How
it.
do you cope?
I would love to, well, not very well some days, but I'm like, how do I balance all that? I mean, it's great. I've had a lot of luck and I'm very fortunate for it, but I would love one day to get back on stage because I haven't done stage work in many, many years, since my school days actually, and I would love to do it again. I mean, there are certain roles that I would love to take up the mantle of at some point, and which brings me to my next question.
Yes.
In any kind of, I could make it, let's make it more general. I mean, I guess it's a two-part question. Are there any roles that you would love to play that exist, that you know of, that you're like, oh, one day, eyes on the prize? And if, if you're like, well, not really. And if not, and otherwise, what do you find yourself in any, whether we're talking just the voice acting, or stage or film or whatever, are there any types of characters do you find yourself more drawn to playing? And what are they?
Oh, that's okay. Two-parter. Before I get too old, I would like to play Juliet. I know that seems kind of, but I would. Ophelia is another one. I would really love to play Stella in Streetcar.
Oh.
These big ones, of course. Besides that, though, I mean, Eurydice was such a peak for me. Like, as soon as I read that play, I knew that I had to do that. And as a young actor, that really satisfied me a lot. And now I'm looking forward, maybe Blanche in Streetcar. And I like getting excited about, where I'm headed as I get older. When I was younger, well, in college and stuff, in high school, I was always kind of like the sidekick, best friend, slut.
Me too. Not even the slut. I was too tall for the slut.
Oh, yeah. See, but then slowly towards the end of college and then coming out into, professional world, I realized that I had started to slip into this ingenue type. And I was like, I have arrived. What is this? Which actually, quite honestly, most of the time the ingenue is pretty boring. She has to drive the plot of the story, and it's the best friend that like everyone remembers. Oh, she was crazy and so fun.
Really? We didn't see it.
I'm crying in my dressing room. But as far as characters that I'm drawn to, of course, a leading lady, a strong woman. I work a lot at the Children's Theater too, and I love playing the villain at the Children's Theater, witches or any type of creepy sort of,
You'd make a really good Snow Queen from Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Oh my gosh, I just auditioned for that.
Oh really? Oh well, I totally. That's well. I hope I didn't jinx you.
No. I already.
You would make a wonderful. I'm just thinking of that, and you in children's stories playing the villainess.
It's fun. I have really long fingernails.
You make a wonderful. I think a lot of fairy tale roles that you'd be great in. You could be good as Maleficent.
Maleficent. I've got
Beauty,
my ears stick out, and I have long fingernails. I'm very slight. I think I make a good elf or fairy or witch type human.
Okay, just so you know, that is not why I think you'd make. No. Because your ears stick out and you have long fingers. That's not why.
It's totally why.
Because you can't see her, being that you're listening to this via podcast, but Miss
She's
Munoz
got a picture up on the
is
site.
very. Oh, good, because
lovely.
she's a very, very, very beautiful woman.
Oh,
if I may say so, without thickening the air with awkwardness.
Like, no, go on.
No. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? So
yes, but those are always so fun, and I really do love anything where I can probably move more than talk, which is so strange. I mean, that I do voice.
Well, you said you're very physical.
Yes, I do. I'm really into Laban work, which is a method of acting going outside in, opposed to like, these are my feelings and these are my emotions, these are my objectives, working like that. It's more like...
That tends to be the very British way of theater, doesn't it? They tend to build from the outside in, I think. They tend to focus on the physicality of the voice and let the emotions kind of take care of themselves, if you will.
Exactly. And that's where I found a lot of, if you start to manipulate your body, then you don't have to think about your voice or the emotion or conjuring, my husband just died. If you actually put yourself physically into a technical, applying a technical device to your body and the way you're moving it, it will evoke those emotions anyway.
Well, that makes perfect sense because, I mean, the mind-body connection, I mean, it's not even a connection. They are one, really. But, I mean, like, most of the time in real life, when you're overwhelmed with some sort of emotion, it's a physical response to something your body is doing, Like, when you're crying because the tears are welling and, you get the lump in your throat or whatever, your body starts shaking. I mean, it's almost like the emotion is almost a rationalization of the physical sensation that you're going through, I think is one theory that I've read that I'm very kind of like, that makes sense. So it makes sense. I mean, working from the outward in seems to make, and it's the least presumptuous as well, I think. When you try to get inside a character's head, you find, as an actor, it's very tempting to go towards abstractions that don't really play in reality because you're assuming something. You're like, you know what, if I just do physically what's real about this emotion, then I can let what's going on in my head mean whatever it needs to mean for whoever's watching this.
Exactly. And a lot of actors have a hard time with that because they're like, I'm not truly feeling this. And a great director of mine told me, sometimes you're going to go out there and you're not going to feel it. You're doing 10 shows a week.
Yeah.
One of those, throughout the run, you are not going to feel it. So that's when you have to rely on your training. And that's where, for me, it's like, okay, one of the terms is ring, and I'll show you, it's like you ring your body and it affects your voice. It starts to ring, and that emotion that comes from it. And I'm thinking ring, where an audience member is seeing someone in pain, someone dealing with something that's bound within them, because that's one of the words, bound.
Yeah.
So I just think it's very fun to do that. I like it, and I was having a difficult time, and now it has helped me realize how to do inside out work. And before I was just like, I am failing at this. I do not. I don't.
Well, the inside-out thing, I think, is very unnatural. Personally, I find it to be, it seems to be the reverse of how you do it. I mean, because I always thought that, I learned this about myself as a voice actor, incidentally, because for the longest time I played very low-key, laid-back, calm, serene characters who, I just sort of stood in the booth and talked pretty, and the words came out, and if I just read them like a human being, it sounded like acting.
Yay!
But and I suppose it was, but when I had to do different characters, like more over the top ones, or very emotional characters, which I only had the chance to do a few times before I really started, the past couple of years when I've gotten just a lot of diverse roles, in the anime world, I realized how much when I have to play, I've been very fortunate and get to play against type a lot of times in my career. And whenever I do that, I suddenly realize the relationship my body has to my voice that I've become more conscious of in the past couple of years than I ever have before in my life. That, for example, I'm playing like Isaac from Bakano or some crazy out there character. My body moves all over the place. And I will find myself at, say, the end of a take in some weird position that I didn't intend to stand like this, but somehow this is just how my body had to contort in order for the voice to come out, and it was unconscious. And once I learned how to kind of control it, it helped me considerably, and I found that I had a vocal range I wasn't aware of before, because I began using my whole body as a vocal instrument, which was quite an epiphany.
I just started doing that, and it's because of watching you.
It's a weird thing. I never would have thought about it.
But now, like,
you know?
I occasionally, like, my engineer's like, what are you doing? I'm like, just shut up.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm like,
shit.
you just shut up. This is the character. This is where that voice needs to be.
Exactly.
Or, like, if my character's drawing a sword, I really am like,
Yeah.
It helps. It so helps. And I always feel like, am I being too much of a theater actor in here? Because I've got to. Even sometimes in Walla, I'm like, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, be careful not to take out the microphone or like elbow the door.
The last Walla I was in, I really felt like I was being the annoying blah, 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 because I was kind of taking it over the top, and I was getting into blah, 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 and I was kind of like, hey, you don't want to stand there, you're going to be off mic. And she's like, and then the engineer's like, no, you are off mic. And I'm like, boom. But
I'm just saying.
I'm like, no, seriously. Like, I know it's just like fangirl, like, woo, but get into it. Like, go like, yeah, baby, and all that stuff. And I totally do. But,
it's great. I love it. I love that. But yeah, I mean, you may have noticed this about me, but I tend to be very physical when I talk. I mean, I tend to gesture.
Me too.
And yeah, which I love. The old phrase, if you tie my hands together, I can't have a decent conversation. And it's very true because
me too.
I do.
Think.
It's something, yeah, there's
also,
something
like,
about
something
it.
about, like, I'm like, it's just, because so many of my notes was, like, me not moving my arms. I'm like, I've got to make up for that now.
And for me, it's really, it's a very strange relationship that the body has to the voice. But I think once I got into my head that they aren't separate entities, it just kind of opened doors for me. And I was like, wow, there's all kinds of stuff I can do if I can. And so I've developed my own sort of techniques for, like, way characters all play that I'm like, okay, well, this character, I need to stand with my shoulders like this and my hands like this because this is how the character feels inside. Mm-hmm. And he may not actually stand like this, but this is, but
I can,
his shadow would stand like this, So I think it's very weird, and it's really cool, and it's very freeing. In the booth, because you can get away with doing things that wouldn't work on stage physically sometimes, necessarily. I mean, because I think I would love to try to make that transition back to stage to see if I could incorporate the physicality of how I use my voice and how my body responds to it or initiates the voice, and see if I could rein it in enough to where it could be realistic looking as well as sounding, which would be very interesting, very difficult, I think, path for me to take. But I would love to try it one day. Maybe we'll see.
That's the beauty of the rehearsal process, is because you are, you have an opportunity to explore those things. Like I was saying, like, I will come in and just, like, be this creature thing, and they're like, what are you doing? I had a director one time, I was, trying to get this lightness into this character who is just going all over and very free and light, and he's like, stop. What are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, I'm floating. I'm trying to float. And he was like, you look like a damn bird. Stop. And I was like, but it's rehearsal. I thought that, okay, I'm sorry. So, but if you're,
but that's what the rehearsal and the critique, at the end of each rehearsal,
yes.
like, what do you need to work on? I'm like, well, see what I was going for. They're like, just work on it. You're like, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the note. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was always like, thank you.
I thought I was doing that.
Well, obviously, if you were, I wouldn't have given you that note. Oh, Lord.
Well,
it's
I
about
think
that time.
Yeah, I suppose it's about that time. I have
so much fun. Like, I'm like, I don't want it to be about that time because I'm having fun.
I know, we do have so much fun.
We do that all the time. Like, hey, you guys wouldn't mind listening for 5 hours, would you? Seriously.
I gotta go eat something.
I'm almost done with that anime show. I'm so tired.
Like that anime show becomes some Wagnerian opera cycle. 5 hours,
it's
no
the
break.
New Moon Saga.
No, but the anime would be like, so thanks for tuning in. Really appreciated it.
I never came up with a nickname for you.
Oh no.
I never came up. Hang on. I've got to think of something. Chat. Do something real quick. Do something distracting. Let me think of it. Not whistling. That's too obvious.
Hello, my baby.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime now.
Baby, your house on fire.
I will call you. Ooh, I know. Because of your 12th night story, I think I'm going to call you Ukulele.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That's your name.
Ukulele. I'll take it.
Or Ukulele. I'll call you Ukulele.
She's like, thank you so much. Some random names we give people. But
Well, Tablespoon came out of nowhere.
I'm telling you, like, I'll do the same thing. Like, Christy Bingham, it's Bingham, I call her Bingham.
Bingham.
Or, and you guys are going to be like, what? Freckle Fart 90.
Okay,
why not?
She's going to be on the show at some point in the future now because of that name. And she's going to go by that name.
Okay, so speaking of randomness, I guess we should
Random.
we should just close off the random now.
We should close off the random. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, my dear, for joining us. You have
Check
been a
out
wonderful
Second Thought,
guest. Second Thought.
Secondthoughttheater.com. Theater spelled with an R-E, not E-R.
The proper way to spell it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yes,
Check it.
Check her out.
Check
Watch Strike Witches. Listen to the loveliness that is Anastasia.
And listen for her and look for her to be in many things coming out.
Many
soon.
things.
Yes.
In the future.
In the future.
Very soon. Very
Very, very soon. Well,
All right,
you have been
Tatum.
a wonderful guest, so I
Thank
guess...
you, wonderful hosts.
We'll have to have you back very,
Yes.
very soon.
Maybe
in
for
fact.
Halloween
This has been-
episode.
This has
With the
been
ghost
truly
stories.
fantastic.
Yes.
So...
Maybe closer to Lobster Alice time.
Oh, absolutely. That's a that's a great promotion. Well, I'm going to go see it regardless.
multiple times.
And
Tatum might be
multiple
too busy
times.
watching every performance.
I might be too busy watching every
Buying like
performance.
5 seats for no reason.
I'm working on the movement for it, so get excited.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so you have no idea how excited I am. All right, well, let's close this off before this becomes a big love fest that we go for another 10 minutes. But,
All right.
but this has been That
Thank
Anime
you
Show.
for listening.
Thank you for listening. I am J. Michael Tatum.
And I'm Terri Doty. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.